Hi, I'm Beth Strathman. I'm a leadership and team coach, and I'm here today with Liz Tinselli. She is a leadership consultant, and we are continuing our conversations about leadership. Today, we're going to talk about how our thinking has changed about what good leadership is from maybe the beginning of our careers to what we think today. So Liz, we've talked a little bit about this. Why don't you start out and just sort of talk about in general how your thinking on what good leadership your thinking used to be about what good leadership is to how you think about it today.
Okay, Beth, in the beginning of my career, I based my idea of what a leader was supposed to be on some very poor examples of leaders. I thought a leader needed to be in control, they needed to know everything, they kind of built empires where they ruled over all and they had these peasants, that kind of did their bidding and they in this situation, the leader usually got the credit, the peasants got the blame, but it was kind of a control, the need to control and know everything. That has been totally turned on its head, and I understand now, after years of experience, that that is the opposite of what makes a good leader. Now, I believe a leader builds teams, they facilitate these teams being able to work together, make decisions together. They provide the resources that these teams need in their support structures, and more of a servant leadership. You know, they engage team to participate in decision making. They give credit where credit is due, and they shoulder more of the blame. When there's blame to be had. They work together to solve problems. So it's the complete opposite of what I used to have in my head made a good leader. How about you, Beth?
Yeah, I think we grew up in the same era. I think our role models were the same, and I completely agree with that. I think when we dig into that and look at maybe some specific examples of what you just described, empire versus servant leadership, um, and not to say that there aren't like emergency situations when you have to be a little more commanding, right? I mean, that happens, but on a daily basis, totally what you just said, I agree with. I think one of the main things that goes along with that theme that sticks out for me, and I probably see it in myself as well, is when I was younger, earlier in my career, I thought to be a good leader, I had to project this image where I had most, if not all, of the answers, where um, to admit that you didn't know would be seen as weak, right? So, from that perspective, of course, I tried to learn everything I could learn about whatever I needed, whatever I was doing at the time, so that I would have that ability. And 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 also going along with that then to be directive, like the empire aspect of what you were talking about, right? To tell people, okay, this is what we need to do. And if I could project that kind of confidence and be more directive, that was being a good leader. What I've come to understand is, not that you can't do that sometimes, and it's warranted, but that on a regular basis, I think what good leadership is more um, asking questions and really uh, facilitating a conversation rather than having all the answers. And when you don't have the answers, admitting that you don't know. I think that's one big thing um, that I've come to know. And I think it's been a long time coming. Um, but over the years, I've seen many examples of leadership and have learned from people who had different personality styles than me, and that's kind of how I came about understanding that. Another thing I think that goes along with your big theme, or do you want to jump in and say
No,
anything
no,
else?
go, no, keep going, keep going.
The other big thing that I think I've changed my mind about when I think about leadership is and it goes to what I just said, it goes to your theme of empire, was that whenever an issue, a challenge, a problem arose, I think this is a natural tendency for most people. It certainly was for me. That I would think, okay, spotlight on me. What do I need to do about this, right? So I put myself in the middle of solving the issue and really just came from that one perspective, right? So I felt like the onus was on me to make things happen, turn the ship around, whatever it was. What I've come to realize is that I need to take myself more out of the center, right? We're all so egoic sometimes, right? We let our egos get in the way. And it's more about taking yourself out of the middle of it, backing up, and then putting the issue, the problem, the challenge in the middle. Put the spotlight on that so that you and the team can really focus on that instead of ourselves and what we're going to do. So
And I love your point. When we put ourselves in the center, now our team is only as strong or as weak as we are.
mhm,
When we take ourselves out of the center, now we've surrounded ourselves with people who are smart. They know what they're doing. They have the experience. Now we've strengthened the team, and we can focus on that problem as a group, and it's so much more effective. It's great for relationships. Leadership now I see is more about the relationships you can develop, not about controlling people and having all the power. It's about being comfortable being vulnerable, because none of us are going to know everything. you know and again, like I said, let's put our problems on the table. Let's put the issues on the table. Let's solve them together. And it's such an effective way to lead versus the old, which we still see today, command and control type of leadership.
yeah, yeah. And I think I think things are shifting, obviously. They have shifted over time. But I guess there's a time and a place for all kinds of leadership, even the what we're considering more old-fashioned stuff or the stuff we used to do. But I think on the day-to-day basis, the things that we've talked about here today is the direction to shift to. So before we close out, anything else to add?
No, I think, I think we've both learned some very valuable lessons over our many years. And, you know, hopefully our viewers out there have learned some of these same lessons, and would love to hear from you if you have experiences, or if you see things differently than we do. You know, please reach out to us, because we'd love to hear what you think.
Absolutely, and we'll put links in the comments so that you can check out what Liz does and what I do in our practices as a leadership consultant and leadership coach. So thanks for watching.